Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game SO. During another fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening as we're going to be playing DDI Rally, the work in progress development build by Dangerous Derk Interactive. And if that name sounds familiar, we just talked about Super Retro GP a few weeks ago on the channel. Basically, Dangerous Derk Interactive is taking all of the classic Sega arcade racing franchises and remaking them with new games in a modern environment. If you know anything about me and the channel, there's two things I love. It's an arcade racing game and it's one inspired by Sega. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun here. Before you get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, got a Patreon link down below as well. But last year I did an entire retrospective on the Sega racing franchise in 3D, every single 3D Sega game ever made as far as racing is concerned, and for all of the Sega Rally games I said Sega absolutely nailed the formula. They had so many incredible racing games, but the Rally games are some of my favorites, and it's one of those properties Sega really hasn't touched in a very long time. So it is up to fan developers and indie developers to basically take that spirit and run with it. And what you're seeing here in DDI Rally is just absolutely that. This feels like it is a mainline entry in the Sega Rally universe. Obviously it's not done, the graphics are not final, I managed to crash into a tree there, but otherwise this really feels like something Sega would have developed, which is exactly the same thing I said about Super Retro GP. Dangerous Derk Interactive just seems to have a feel not only for the look of Sega games, but also for the controls and physics, because if you've ever played Sega Rally before, you will understand this game basically from the go. And I am playing this as a blind playthrough. The capture you're seeing here is my first time through all of the stages in the championship course. I actually wanted to go in blind and get a sense of how the game was, how it played, and how well I could do right off the top without any practice whatsoever. So if you do see me hit a few walls, that's because I am playing this for the first time while you're watching it. And honestly, I am definitely impressed with what's on offer here. I would say visually this definitely has that Sega Rally vibe going on to it. Yes, the graphics are non-final, there's definitely some stuff on the edges of the screen that could be populated with more trees, but what we have right here as a work in progress development is a ton of fun, and I love that I managed just to flip the car completely over on its hood. And I love the overall brake lights there and the light bloom as well. It's definitely a very pretty game for not being final. And as we come around these other corners here, the best thing about this game is just the drifting and sensation of weight and momentum on different surfaces. That's what made Sega Rally so much fun. Sure, Daytona USA and Scud Race had some awesome drifting, but you were definitely just driving on the same surface the entire time, where in the Sega Rally franchise, you would have different grip characteristics and different drift characteristics depending on if you were on tarmac, dirt, or snow, and that has been brought over so eloquently here. You really do get a sensation of how your car's handling changes depending on the surface you're on. You're definitely going to basically break the ass end of the car out if you drift too hard on some non-tarmac surfaces, so you really do need to learn exactly how each surface handles and kind of take it from there. And the best part is this has a complete configuration menu that looks like an arcade menu. I'll show you that later in the video, and you can articulate your driving characteristics and your controls however you want, including force feedback for wheels. So it really does give you a very unique combination of courses, material types, as well as control schemes, so you can really dial in whatever vehicles type you want. And I do love that this car right here is the Gastrol, not the Castrol, and it's a Toyota, not a Toyota. But I do love that all of the theming from the cars has been brought over exactly like it would be from Sega Rally. And again, blind playthrough, so some of these corners here I'm learning for the first time, but that really is indicative of how well the courses are set up. For the most part, I can blind read them and anticipate how things are going to go based upon my experience with Sega Rally and just playing arcade games. No, it's not a perfect playthrough whatsoever, but that's kind of the point of this video. This is what you would experience if you pick the game up in early access and it is available. And that is always so much fun. I love these spiritual successors to Sega arcade racing games, and DDI seems to be bringing so many of them, including apparently having plans for a Daytona USA and a Touring Car Championship game as well. So they have multiple games in development, all in the Sega universe as far as racing games is concerned, and that couldn't make me any happier because you know I love my arcade racing games. But the best part is the engine noises of the soundtrack have that classic Sega vibe, and that is so important. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds. I'll come back and show you more courses and tell you a little bit more about the game.
3, 2, 1, go! Easy left. Long heavy left, maybe. Long heavy right, maybe. Easy left. Easy right. Checkpoint. Easy left. Easy left. Easy. Oh my god. Easy left. Easy left. Long medium left. Hairpin right.
Awesome music, awesome sound effects, and you even get your co-pilot navigating for you, but it's a British woman this time, not a male like it was in the Sega Rally games. But it's so indicative of the callback to what Sega Rally truly was, and it's a genre that we really don't get many games in anymore. Sure, we get arcade racing games, and sure, we get a lot of other racing games, but rally games really are few and far between, and it is one of my favorite genres. I particularly love the sensation of speed in this game. I'm running everything at Ultra, but I have a pretty high test system, but it really does feel like you're absolutely just flying down these roads. If there's one thing I would love in the game is maybe a few more jumps in the courses, but otherwise it's doing it for me. And you'll see here in the options menu, you have so many different variables you can change, and I love that DDI sets these up like they're actual arcade test menus. I know it's a very small touch, and for a lot of you, you probably don't collect arcade games and go through the test menus very often at all, but this is the type of thing, it takes so little effort to make something feel so much like an actual arcade board, and this options menu just 100% kills it. And of course you're going to have all sorts of control options as well. You can bring your own wheel, use an Xbox One X controller, really anything you want. As we move on to the next course here, I will say this game is very pretty off the top. I love the sun bloom, I love the little different dirt and particle effects. It really does sell the illusion of being a modern game. Maybe we could get a little bit more mud and dirt spray up off those wheels, but otherwise, again, as you see at the bottom, graphics and gameplay are not final, so that's probably something that's going to come in later on, just to give you a little bit more of those environmental effects of actually ripping your car at like 100 miles an hour down a dirt road. And I would say that obviously this course being the last is going to be the hardest in the game, but again, on my first playthrough, having never played the game before, I was able to get right up to hitting the finish line on the final course, and I ran out of time maybe a second too early, which you'll see in a moment. And that is definitely something that is a good indicator of quality, because I could blindly read most of the game to get to the end. If I hadn't made that one mistake there and had to respawn my car, I definitely would have been able to finish. And I'm sure different difficulty settings and options are going to come into the game later on as it goes through more development. You'll see here, I always have a tendency in Sega Rally just to go too hot into a corner, and I was doing the exact same thing here in DDI Rally, and that's on me, not the game. I just love to get that absolute sensation of speed and try to blast it as quickly as I can around a corner, and that is always to my detriment, because unlike something like Daytona USA or Scud Race, the name of the game in DDI Rally and Sega Rally in general is to remember when you don't want to go fast, because you'll see here, I would have totally made that finish line had I just not had those few crashes. I also love the fact that you can just kind of play around with this game and go into time attack mode here, and you'll see it does occur at a different time of day. There's an entire day-night cycle in the game. You can get bright, cheery sunlight, you can get overcast like we have here, golden hour, rain. There's basically different weather effects, and you can either play them at random or select them when you're actually selecting a course, and that is a really nice touch as well. It just gives you a little bit of a different visual language. While I did make some of the same mistakes going around the course this time, I was able to get through and show you the end of the lap, and that's always a fun time. So in the future, what I'd love to see more of is just a little bit more at the edges of the screen, some more people maybe cheering you on like a real rally race, a few more trees, just kind of fleshing out the overall environment. But again, as an unfinished beta game, that's very likely it is coming. But other than that, DDI Rally really is doing it for me, and I love the sensation of speed in the cockpit view, but I'm only showing it to you for a little bit because I get a lot of comments saying that it provides motion sickness when you're just watching it, not playing it. So leave me a comment down below and tell me, do you get motion sick when you watch the first person view in racing games on YouTube or not? For me, it doesn't really matter whatsoever, but I have heard that a few times. And you'll see as we go through that tunnel, you get that really nice sort of spotty effect on your windshield, like there's a little bit of road grime and dust on there. There's a ton of little touches in this game that really just sell the illusion of the environment, but I wish we did get a couple of raindrops on the screen as well. But again, that might very well be coming in a future update. But this is just a fun game. DDI Rally takes the spirit and fun of Sega Rally and makes a new game out of it, and it really does feel like something Sega themselves could have done, and that is the highest compliment I can play to any game in the racing genre. It feels like something Sega would have made themselves had they just made it, and it really makes me want Sega to make some more arcade racing games for the home market. I'd absolutely love it. But short of that, you can check this out in early access on Steam if you want, or you can wait for it to be finished, but it's a nice price, it's a fun game, and it feels like a new Sega Rally. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.